Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Retirement decumulation. That's a challenging financial transition. It's a challenging term. Can be painful if you don't do it right. So how do you prepare for an enjoyable and financially secure retirement? Well, to help us understand the best practices for accomplishing retirement decumulation. You can tell I'm really enjoying that phrase. Tim Stearns joins us. He's the president and founder of TJ Stearns Financial Planning and Benefits in the leafy Arlington Heights, the future home of the Bears, unless they go to Northwest Indiana. Tim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good. So retirement decumulation, that's a scary term. It must be industry jargon.
What? I mean, basically, we have so many people coming in who have talked about accumulating their money that they don't really know how to unwind it and spend it correctly.
Yeah, I didn't lose my money; I decumulated it. So give us, practical steps that you deploy with your clients to ensure that retirement decumulation is not something that disrupts the golden years.
Well, I mean, the big thing that we look at is acknowledging the new risks that you have out there, timing risks with the market, taxes, sequence risk, when a market's at an all-time high right now, and if it does go down, that can really affect a retirement. And then the behavioral stress of trying to play the market. We see a lot of baby boomers who are acting like they're still at a blackjack table with their retirement money, and that's a little scary.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just give us an example of like trying to, get somebody who may be, optimistic about this year, but you think you're a little bit further out on the risk plane than you should be. And so here's some things to think about just to grow, but protect the downside.
The big thing to do is try to have stop losses. Make sure you are diversified. Make sure you're, rebalancing. When one of these high flyers like NVIDIA goes up, and I'm not recommending it or not recommending it, but I'm saying if it goes up and it's a big portion of your portfolio, you need to make sure that you rebalance after that. Those are the things that we try to tell our clients, that you need to manage your risk, especially in decumulation.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I assume there's a lot of questions. There's been a lot of questions over the last couple of years. We've discussed, of course, with crypto as an investment vehicle, and now over the last couple of years too, but particularly the last year, with all the money pouring into AI, the capitalization of all these AI companies, is this something, this is the future, so I should be a participant in what is going to be the future. And so how do you sort of process that with clients?
Well, I understand FOMO, the fear of missing out, but I also understand that, everyone's a warrior in the stock market until it goes down 30% in a year, and then everyone's very skittish. And I think we are getting lackadaisical about what risk really is in the market, and that's scary. And what we try to do is get our, some of our clients to make sure that they understand what risks they have there, and then we have buffering, stop losses, that type of thing, where we're not going to let them lose everything they've earned as they're going into retirement.
And so it just, how did it work in terms of here's a menu of choices that you have to make, and here's sort of the relative upsides and downsides, and then you then sort of attach numbers to the different choices and say, this is the range, these are the ranges if you choose plan A, plan B, plan C kind of thing, and to sort of make it real for people so that they perhaps especially if they're, in your view, being a little riskier than they should be, maybe that brings them into the fold a bit.
Yeah, so our analysis report will show them how they're doing versus how we would have done in the same type of markets. We show them a bear and a bull market, and that really hits home because I don't think they really understand what kind of waters they've waded their retirement money into, and that's pretty scary, and they need to make sure that they understand that they're not 40 years old anymore, and they need to invest accordingly.
Yeah, it's easy to get complacent in good times, and with the market run-up we've seen over the last couple of years, right?
Exactly, and 2022 taught everyone nothing, because what happened is it bounced right back. And so everyone, oh, the market always bounces back. And we're seeing, advisors that are in this industry right now that have never lived through a true bear market. And they're giving advice like the market's going to just keep going up, up, up. And I hope it does. I really do. But, as Reagan would have said, trust but verify. And those are the things that we try to, check them at the door to make sure that they understand what they're getting themselves involved in.
And so then you have sort of a projected, here's what your, spend needs to stay. Here are the parameters of your spend on a go forward basis. And then, working with them to talk about things that are cost drivers in the spend and could be volatile, including, what the government's going to do where they live, things like property taxes.
Especially if they live in Cook County. Yes, that is
right.
definitely something that goes into the plan. And we had a guy come in yesterday. He's an engineer, very smart man, and he thought he'd be in the 22% tax bracket. And we showed him he had done AI using that, and then I said, you're going to be around the 12% once you take into the different exemptions we have. And he was like, wait, no. And then he emailed me late last night and said, yeah, you're totally right on. So what that does for him is once he is done working, I'll be able to do some, Roth conversions too with some of his money. So those are the things that we're trying to get across the landscape of the entire retirement. It's not just stocks and bonds.
Yeah, but not just stocks and bonds and other real assets too. I mean, things like, since it's been all the rage for the last week in particular, things like gold.
Yep.
When something breaks out like gold and to a lesser extent silver have, I'm sure you get people saying, should in terms of my portfolio, if I have no gold, should I get some? If I have 5% of my portfolio is gold, should I make it 10? Right? Do you get those kinds of questions?
We would never do more than 10% because it's a good barometer to what the market's doing. But a lot of people will ask us, we should do that, and I'll say, have you looked at your portfolio? You're already in that, and they, oh, you're right. So they say in the commercial, what's in your wallet? Well, what's in your portfolio? What do you have? Are you diversified? You have to make sure that people understand that.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, and we've talked about this before, but it certainly bears revisiting. In terms of volatility, we talked about government, and this is somewhat related since we've had a backdoor government takeover of the health insurance market. But long-term care as you age, and the prospect of you or your spouse needing assisted living environment, and the sorts of costs and what Medicare does and doesn't cover, and really sort of budgeting for just the inevitable physical decline.
To your point, someone over 65 has a 7 out of 10 chance that they're going to need long-term care, and 9 out of 10 of those Americans have not addressed it. So put that in perspective, 3 out of 1,000 people have the chance of burning their house down. And if you're looking into an audience, everyone has home insurance, but 7 out of 10 are going to need long-term care, and 9 out of 10 haven't bought it. So I'm not talking about the old school, standalone long-term care. I'm talking about, there's a lot of neat products out there now that have life insurance components with a living benefit like long-term care.
Yeah, and I assume part of the real assistance there too is just pricing these things out, because unless you're an expert from that industry, unless you're C. Stephen Tucker or something like that, you're just like, I have no idea. Thinking about it. Hopefully, I'm not going to need that quite yet. But thinking about sort of the costs that are associated with that. How does that industry work in terms of the year over year increase in cost for said services, that those sorts of things. It's just not something that people can easily price.
Right, and we're not telling people to go out there and get a Cadillac plan or something like that, but you can self-insure only up to so much. And if someone doesn't use this long-term care component, well, then they have a life insurance death benefits that's absolutely tax-free. So someone gets a return on that dollars that you put into it, and then you're covering that 7 out of 10, making sure that you're addressing that.
And, just when you're talking about people that are not at retirement age yet, or maybe not even near, people in their late, let's say mid-40s to mid-50s, what's the advice and counsel there? You say, okay, I need to start getting serious about thinking about, my senior years, and here are some steps I should immediately take if I haven't taken them.
That comes along with, our Protect and Grow blueprint, is that we'd actually analyze everything that they have going on and get them on the right paths. And, they can have we run into a lot of people in their 40s and 50s that still have that slush fund that they play with stocks, Apple, NVIDIA, et cetera. And that's great. And you can have that. But when it comes to your real true dollars, you need to have a plan with those for your retirement. And the earlier you do it, the better you'll be when you're in your 60s.
And, clients that are young families, and the whole Trump accounts thing, that I assume there's a lot of interest there, particularly after, the announcement, and now in Michael Dell putting $6 billion in. That certainly, that certainly adds an attractive quality to it. So the conversations you're having about some of those new opportunities like the Trump accounts.
We have many people from this radio show calling in to us about that. And a lot of people are not clear on how that's going to work and who's going to give what money and that type of thing. One of my nephews just had a baby, and I said it's going to be a good thing for you guys. And you can build off of that. So yeah, we're well versed in all that, and people should give us a call at 1-800-640-2256. 1-800-640-2256.
Yeah, it's also a great sort of basic finance teachable moment. You heard Scott Besson talking the other day about market returns. If they averaging them out over the course of a child born today to when they're 65, that the downstroke that the government complemented by Michael Dell puts down in your Trump account at birth could be $500,000 by the time you're ready for retirement. That's real money.
Exactly.
If money means anything in the future, when Elon Musk saying money is going to be irrelevant, but let's say it isn't. Let's protect the downside and say it isn't. That's big. That's real money.
It is, and every little bit helps. I have 3 boys, and if you're putting them through college or if you want them to retire, I beat into their heads that you need to put money in your Roths. You need to put money away for the rainy day. It's so important, and those Trump accounts just help that along.
Tim Stearns is the president and founder of TJ Stearns Financial Planning and Benefits in Arlington Heights. Tim, give us that number again for people to contact you.
No problem. It's 1-800-640-2256. That's 1-800-640-2256.
Tim, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Dan, thanks for having me.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, dementia care isn't just what we do, it's all we do. We specialize in caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. We're on the forefront of dementia care with a barrier-free, stress-free environment.